Hello students, I am again here with new video. I am taking some concept students before starting new salt. We were doing some important chemical compounds. Before proceeding for the next important chemical compound, I am firstly telling you some questions that what is the pH of fresh milk? So answer is fresh milk pH is 6. Okay, it is towards acidic side because if 7 pH is there it is neutral, but milk is having 6 pH, that means slightly it is acidic. Now students, what happens to the pH of milk when it changes into curd? Curd meaning, students, you all know curd is acidic in nature. It is having sour taste, isn't it, students? If it is having sour taste, meaning acidic in nature, that means its pH from 6 decreases when milk changes into curd. Okay, so curd contain acid and thus pH decreases. Is it clear, students? That milk, when converting into curd, its pH value decreases from the previous value. When the milk was fresh milk, its pH was 6, it decreases from 6. Okay. One more thing I am telling you, these all are the NCERT questions, friends. So, I am discussing that. Milkman adds baking soda to the milk. Firstly, I am telling you that why Milkman adds baking soda to the milk. Suppose Milkman is bringing milk from far off places to the city, and during especially summer season milk gets spoiled because of high temperature. So to prevent its spoilage, Milkman adds some amount of baking soda, increases its pH from 6 so that due to heat, temperature, pH value do not get reduced from 6. Firstly, if the milkman is adding baking soda, its value increases from 6. And due to extreme heat conditions, that value start decreasing, becomes equal to 6 and take time to become less than 6. That's why to prevent the milk from spoiling, milkman usually add baking soda to milk and shift its pH towards alkaline. अल्कलाइन की तरफ शिफ्ट कर देता है मिल्कमैन ताकि जल्दी मिल्क खराब ना हो. Here, one more thing I am telling you, in presence of baking soda, if the milk is having baking soda, milk becomes alkaline. That you know, students, baking soda is basic in nature. That's why milk will be alkaline in nature. Thus, it take more time to form curd. Sometimes question comes that why milk take more time to form curd if it is mixed with some amount of baking soda. So we can say answer is that if baking soda is there, milk becomes alkaline and thus it take more time to form curd. Is it okay, students? Here I am telling you, students, that how baking soda is a basic salt. Like I am taking NaHCO3. NaHCO3 is a salt, students, and if we split into acid and base, as we know that here OH and here H plus for knowing different acid and bases. So which base is there for the formation of this NaHCO3? That is NaOH. And which is the acid? Here H2CO3. And I am telling you, students, that NaOH is strong base while H2CO3 we call it as carbonic acid. It is a weak acid. That's why due to the presence of strong base, this NaHCO3 is basic in nature. It is alkaline in nature. Is it okay, students? This proves that how NaHCO3 is basic in nature. So I have done some of the questions of NCERT related to pH value, students. Now we are proceeding towards a new chemical compound or a substance, and that is bleaching powder. You all have heard this name, students, bleaching powder. Formula of bleaching powder is CaOCl2. This is the chemical formula, students. And what is its chemical name? I told you that all the chemical compounds you have to do under two headings: chemical name, chemical formula, as well as the common name. Okay, students. So here CaOCl2 is the chemical formula. And what is its chemical name? Chemical name is calcium oxy. This oxygen is there, oxychloride. And its common name, घर वाला नाम इसका कौन सा होता है? Bleaching powder. Okay, bleaching powder formula is CaOCl2 and chemical formula is calcium oxychloride. How it is prepared? What is the method used for the preparation of bleaching powder? So name of the method here is Hazen-Clever's method. Hazen-Clever method. In that method, what is done? Slaked lime, calcium hydroxide, is reacted with Cl2 gas. Chlorine gas is passed into slaked lime, resulting in the formation of bleaching powder CaOCl2 and H2O. Okay, this is how bleaching powder is prepared. It is white colored powder, students. I am telling you uses, and then I will tell you that which type of questions can be asked. Uses. Mainly bleaching powder is used for killing germs, and that's why it is added in swimming pools or the water parks, so that water should not contain any germs. Next is disinfection of drinking water. In the drinking water also, this bleaching powder is added whenever you are getting supply at your home. That water is firstly mixed with bleaching powder. It releases out actually chlorine gas from it, and that chlorine gas is responsible for killing the germs in water. It purifies the water. So this bleaching powder is containing Cl2. As it comes in the contact with the atmospheric air, it starts evolving out Cl2 gas, and that is responsible for killing germs, for purification of water. Okay. Next is in laundries also, this bleaching powder is used. Bleaching. Bleaching meaning, students, to fade the color, to lighten the color. So in white clothes especially, in the laundries, bleaching powder is used to give more whitening to the clothes. Here, next is in the paper industry also it can be used. Again, for the bleaching of papers, for lightening the shade of paper. As the paper comes in contact with the bleaching powder, its shade decreases. It gets lighter. Okay, so to give extra whitening effect, this bleaching powder is used in laundries, and to fade the color of paper also, in the paper industry also, this bleaching powder can be used. This bleaching powder can be used as oxidizing agent also, students. Oxidizing agent, remember students, we have done that any substance which provide oxygen is oxidizing agent. Bleaching powder can also act like oxidizing agent. So in this way we have done this bleaching powder. Question can be asked, a white colored powder which shows property of killing germs or act like disinfection in water, used for the disinfection of water, or question can be used in laundries. Write the preparation of that Salt, preparation of that chemical. Identify the white colored powder. Any type question can come. Okay, so you have to be prepared that this bleaching powder is white color powder and have strong smell of chlorine in it. Okay, students. Next, we are taking next chemical compound, which is important chemical compound, and it is baking soda. This name is also familiar to you, students. I think baking soda formula is NaHCO3, and its chemical name is sodium bicarbonate, either, or you can say sodium hydrogen carbonate. Both the names are the chemical names, sodium hydrogen carbonate or simply sodium bicarbonate. Okay, students, and the common name is baking soda. Clear? And I am telling you, students, this NaHCO3 is a main constituent of baking powder. I am using word baking powder. This baking soda is a main constituent of baking powder, which is available in the market, and we purchase it for mixing it and making cakes. Okay, so in the cake, baking powder is added, and for making baking powder, NaCl acts like raw material. In the beginning only, we did that NaCl acts as raw material for the preparation of many useful chemical compounds. So here NaCl is acting like raw material. Okay, how this baking soda is prepared by using this NaCl. So NaCl, here the raw materials along with NaCl, water, CO2 and NH3 when combined together, ammonia, carbon dioxide, water and sodium chloride, salt. These four when react together, we are getting ammonium chloride, that is NH4Cl, and NaHCO3. So we have prepared this NaHCO3 by which process, friends? Process name here is Solvay's method. Solvay process. Solvay's method. Okay. So we have prepared this sodium bicarbonate. Okay. Here one very important thing, students. In properties of baking soda, only one property we are doing, students, that is heat treatment. Heat treatment meaning if this NaHCO3 is heated strongly, it gives Na2CO3, that is sodium carbonate. That by word is not there now. Na2CO3, H is not there. Na2CO3 is sodium carbonate, water and carbon dioxide evolves out. This evolution of carbon dioxide helps this baking soda to make an important chemical. How? So we are taking the uses of baking soda. What are the uses, friends? Here the uses are, this baking soda is used. This baking soda is used in making the food items fluffy. Like cake is fluffy, friends, or for the fermentation process for making the idli fluffy, in that also we used to add baking soda. So how that baking soda is responsible for making food items fluffy? As we did that when baking soda is heated, it is evolving out CO2, and that CO2 is responsible for rising the cake up. Okay, that cake rises up, thus becoming fluffy. So which gas is present in the cake? That is CO2. How it is coming out? By the heating of this baking soda. But if baking soda is added alone, then it makes the cake slightly bitter. How bitter, students? As you know, students, that this CO2 is responsible for rising the cake, making the cake fluffy. H2O is the moisture content which get evaporated as heating is taking place. But Na2CO3 will remain in the cake. And Na2CO3 is a basic salt and it makes the cake bitter. And because we have done, students, that bases are bitter in taste, acids are sour in taste, and bases are bitter. So because of presence of this base in the cake can become bitter. So to prevent that bitterness in the cake, we use baking powder. Instead of baking soda, what we are using? Baking powder. So what is the constituent of baking powder? What is the composition of baking powder? Here I have written, students, in baking powder, along with NaHCO3, some tartaric acid is added. Tartaric acid मिला देते हैं. क्यों? Because on heating, what we are getting? Na2CO3 along with H2O and CO2. This Na2CO3 is making the cake bitter because it is a base. So that base get neutralized by the tartaric acid present in baking powder. So if the question comes, students, that write the composition of baking powder. So you have to write NaHCO3 and tartaric acid. What is the use of adding this tartaric acid? Then also you will explain that since on heating baking powder is producing basic salt, that is Na2CO3, which can make the cake bitter, to neutralize that base, tartaric acid is added. Okay, students? So I have written here Na2CO3 is basic, which is bitter in taste. So to neutralize that basic salt, tartaric acid is added. Okay, students? So this is one of the use of NaHCO3 to make the food items fluffy. Second is, it is used as antacid during acidity problem in case of overeating or less eating. Both of the habits can produce acidity problem. More eating and less eating. If you are not eating anything, in that case also acidity problem you will feel. So this NaHCO3 is used as antacid. You all have heard about ENO. That ENO only contain sodium bicarbonate. And you have heard that nowadays ENO is coming in the market in different flavors, but that flavors are of acids only, like in lime flavor, like in tamarind flavor. So these all are the acids, and that acids are neutralizing the base in NaHCO3. Okay, so that its taste become better. So this sodium bicarbonate acts like antacid. It can be used as antacid. One more use, friends, I am telling you, it can act like fire extinguisher also. As we are knowing that it is releasing out CO2 gas. CO2 puts off fire, no? So this NaHCO3 sodium bicarbonate can also be used as fire extinguisher. So for today, I am taking this much only, students. Do all the notes in your fair copy nicely, students. Some of the students are regularly sending their work, but many of you are not sending your work. Even you are not asking any questions. Students, this time you will be facing board exams, so everything should be very clear, because on reopening of school, we will not take these taught topics again in explanation, students. So do these topics nicely, and I am again and again saying that if you have any problem in any of the topics, you can directly call me or send your queries on my WhatsApp number. Okay, students? So for today, this much is there. Thank you.